Okay, good morning, folks. How we doing today? Thrash Pondo here, and I'm keep looking over to see if the camera picture is okay. It seems okay to me. I don't want to mess with the camera. We all learn what goes awry when that happens. I'm just gonna have to lean in a little bit if anyone starts giving me any comments. Yeah, I'm a little early today. Probably just because I was well, for once I wasn't running behind. It's as simple as that. So I decided to go in a little early, yeah, because you never know what kind of little glitches will have to be overcome. And hey, it looks like there's already people in the comments section. We have Sean Innes says, hey yo to you too there, Mr. Sean. Welcome to the party. Tug, the unapologetic geek, is here. He says, here is a comment. Yes, that is a comment. Here is a comment, is in fact a comment. You, however, did not put a punctuation mark, so it is not a complete sentence. Let's see. Big Guys 45 is here. Big Guy says hi. Hi to you, Big Guys. Tug says hi, Sean, Big Guy, and of course, Thrash. And hello to you, of course. Gary Carpenter says, hey there, everyone. I'm back. You sure are. And welcome to the party. Lance Javen says, hiya, Thrash. Hi to you too, Lance. So glad you could make it. Big Guy says, your wife never followed back to my new TikTok yet. She did not? I'll remind her. By the way, she's been following so many people it probably just fell through the cracks. But I'll remind her, big guys. She did like your old one. Lynn Chapin says hey to the entire gang, and I'm sure the entire gang says a little back to you. And Keith E says Hooper is allowed to stay up, so it's better than good. It's better than good. It's gooderific. Yes, Hooper the hippo. How you doing today? There's a miniature golf course in my town, which I pass pretty much every day, a couple of three times. I'll have to explain how I pass it three times at some point, but I'll get back to you on that. It has the coolest hippo. I keep meaning to take a picture of it, just because I think you might find it amusing, but I'll have to get back to you on that. John Doe says hello, hello, and hello squared to you too, Neutron John. Daryl Johnson, my other brother Daryl. How are you doing, man? So good to see you. Glad you can make it. He says, Bob. I will say, other brother. Love the stuff you've been putting on Facebook, by the way. It's been absolutely hysterical. Thank you, man. If remind me to say the same thing to Tracy, by the way. Tracy's been putting up gold on Facebook as late. Skipping down, see what is here. Oh, Big Guy says, this is going out to the crowd. I need more followers. Only 31 so far. Remember, the name is Sparks Dude 1974. Sparks Dude 1974. I will repeat. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. All over the fellowship. Tug says it's going okay. Lance fighting a cold, and my son is laid up with it too. But nothing we can't handle. Have some chicken noodle soup. It can't hurt. Shannon, this is Gary. That HC was supposed to be GC. Oops. Hey, buddy. That happens a lot. Little typos can change meaning quite a bit. John Doe says yesterday was a good day because it was the day of my birth. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. So glad. I won't guess which one because it's none of my business, but happy birthday. And I'm so glad you shared that information with us so we could send our wishes to you. Danny Staten says, greetings from South Carolina, and a South Carolina greeting back to you. Or would that be greetings back to South Carolina? Gary Carver says, I just found out that they have remade Destroy All Monsters, and there's another King Kong versus Godzilla. Yes, I was reading something about that on Svengoolie, too, by the way, about they did a remake of Destroy All Monsters. Sounds great. Zublik says, well, this is early. Yeah, you know how last couple of times I've been running late, so I barely just get under the wire. I decided to hit the ground running today and allow for any little catastrophes that seem to love to come my way. And ironically, nothing did. So I was a few minutes early. But so far, you haven't missed anything. You've just come in during the sort of reverse goodnight Waltons, where we all say hello to everyone. Oh, and Lance Chavin told Big Guy 45 that he just subscribed to his channel. Lance, that was very nice of you. Let's just see what we got here. Big Guy says, Denny Staten, hi, friend. Are you on TikTok, friend? Thanks. I don't know if he's on TikTok, but I'm sure he will if he is. Shanina says, Denny, Satan, and Superplex. Ooh. Keithy says, hello, everyone. I am going out to the lobby to hit the thumbs up. You can hit the thumbs up wherever you want to. Lance Chapin says to Tug, feel better to both of you. That's very, very kind of you. Zuplik says, hello to Sean. Skipping down. Oh, Dominic D is here. Says, hey, Thrash. Hey, everyone. Dominic D, so glad you could make it tonight, by the way. People are saying hello to Tom Lemery, but I haven't. Oh, there's Tom Lemery. Tom Lemery says, happy belated to John Doe. That was very kind of you. John Doe says, was watching 3 Dawn the Dragon Winslow movies. I'm sorry, I'll come in again. Was watching 3 Dawn the Dragon Wilson movies. I was close. Daryl Jones says, take a drink, Bob. Way ahead of you. I'm very dry. I don't know why. Wicked allergies going around this area. Zublik says, who is serving the drinks? Unapologetic. No, it's self-serve tonight, by the way. Denny says, I only do the tube, but I do the blank out of it. And we all know what that blank is. And Daryl Jones says, yes, hit the like button. WD says 9 thumbs up so far. Tug says, I'll be serving liquid Mucinex. Ew, Zuper. You can have some if you want, but it doesn't taste very good. Most medicines don't, except for I always like the taste of NyQuil, by the way. And Denny Staten has started giving us some of his infamous links. Thank you so much, Denny, for sending links out to other people. Keithy says, did John Doe have a frozen yogurt cake? Ooh, that sounds delicious. I used to love ice cream cake when I was a kid. John Doe says, my favorite martial artists are, Dawn the Dragon Wilson, Oliver Grunner, and Cynthia Rothrock. That name sounds familiar. Rothrock, that sounds familiar. But Dragon Wilson eluded me. I have 1,000 apologies to both you and him. Tug says, did somebody say yogurt? Lance Chavin says Billy Blanks to John. John Burnson is here. Hello, John. So glad you could make it. 11, and I hit the like button. Thank you so much. Oh, and Carolee Maloney is here. Hello, everyone. Carolee, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That's very, very kind of you. I'm glad you could make it. Gary Cameron says, has anyone seen Rasputin yet? No, but I saw Nicholas in Alexandria. Doctor Who himself, Tom Baker, plays Rasputin. Doug says NyQuil tastes like being in a coma. For some reason, I was like the taste of it. I don't know. I found it to be very refreshing. Danny's giving us another link. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tom Lemmer says hi, Karen Lee. And again, Tom, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Les Given says, Tug, what's the next topic about? That's an excellent question. And if you haven't seen the Tugapalooza, by the way, please check out Tug's station. Both Lance, myself, and ENC did 90s action movies. It was a lot of fun. Keithy says, agree with Tug. I've been in a coma, and that's a good definition. Gary Cameron says, would you believe that I've got the gout? I would, and commiserations. Young man. John Burnington says, excuse me while I grab a Chobani. Grab whatever you'd like to grab. Tug says, Lance, I've got a stream with my podcast buds next week, but a couple of weeks after that, I was planning to have you, Thrash, and Ian on to talk about apocalyptic movies. I assume you mean post-apocalyptic, and I am all about it. About it, I would absolutely love. That's one of my favorite subgenres. John Doe says Tom Poe from Bloodsport said Don Wilson wouldn't last one round with him. Elizabeth says Rasputin is with Boney M. Lance Chafin says thanks to Tug, as do I. Caroline Maloney says good evening, Tom Zerblix, Lance and Tug. Gary Cameron says no, the movie with Nick Cage. No, I have not. I have not. Let's just see. Tug says those Yasso frozen yogurt bars are addictive as redacted. Yes, they certainly are. Lance says I will after Thrash is over. Okay, 45. Oh, that's what he said. Over 45. I am way over 45, but he's just telling Big Guys 45 that he will subscribe to your channel after my show tonight, and that's very kind of you. Thank you. Triplic says, prefer the song, Gary. John Wilson says, John Bernstein says, well, I would grab something else, but this is a family show. But I'm bummed. And a lot of people saying hello. So, while I have a second, couple things I want to update you guys with. Dave is putting together another Retropalooza. It will be on a Wednesday. I can't precisely say what Wednesday. We're still kind of putting that in the works, but Dave does want to do another Retropalooza, and I'm really looking forward to doing it with him. So keep an ear out for when the next Retropalooza is coming up, hopefully in the not too distant future. Also, Dave, and a lot of you people were on Dave's last show, Dave has officially, Lance Chafin, friend of channel, Lance Chafin, suggested that when Dave said he wanted ideas for new swag, he goes, how about a Thrash t-shirt? And Dave went out and did it. You can actually, if you go to Dave's, I guess you'd say swag channel, you can actually, or swag site, you can actually buy t-shirts that say Thrash Pondo Pawns. They come in a variety of colors. Black, sort of a cobalt blue, and the sort of a slate blue. All very, very, very nice. There was some glitch. I went to order them myself the other night, and it was lagging a little bit. So my wife and I are going to try again tomorrow. But I highly invite you all to try as well. You can have a Thrash Pondo t-shirt. I won't retire this one, but I'll put that new shirt into the mix. And let's see. I'm just going to go. Here we are. I'm going to skim through a lot of. Oh, yeah. Daryl John says, like button, hit the like button, what he said. John Doe says, so what's on the agenda for tonight? Funny you should ask. I was actually just getting to that. The trivia game for tonight is actually going to be on 60s TV shows, and I bounced it off Mrs. Thrash, and she loved it. So, and I got the questions from the TV Guide trivia game. So we can talk about 60s TV shows. We can talk about upcoming things for my channel. We can talk about upcoming TV events. If anyone has more information on the All Monsters Attack, did we decide? Destroy All Monsters, or any other upcoming reboots like the King Kong versus Godzilla. Tonight is a grab bag. So basically it's one of my, bring your own topics. So if you want to talk about old movies and TV, new movies and TV, I'm open for suggestions. But I think we'll start with 60s TV. Thanks for the other link, Dan. He just gave us another one. Tug says, when are you starting the computer class? I know it got delayed last time you streamed. It was so funny. Like 2 days later, I got a message from my contact, and she said, long story short, the man does 2 classes a day. He does a morning class and an afternoon class. He had reconsidered he was going to continue to do the morning class, but that would be his 1 class per day. And she says, would mornings be good for you? And I'm like, that was actually what I signed up for. In fact, I couldn't do the afternoon class. If he had gone the other way and said, I'm going to sleep in and have afternoon classes, I couldn't have done it. But I can do morning classes. So, yes, it's gone back to, it starts May 16th, May 15th, 16th, sometime in the middle of May. And it will last for 2 months. And when I get done with the class, I will be an expert in all things computer related. Ready for the 20th century, a quarter way through the 21st. Big Guy says, Thrash Pondo, how do you deal with phone battery every day? Might be a weird question, but I'm just curious. I usually charge my phone up to 2 times or only 1 time per day, depending on usage. Now that I have a laptop, I don't use my phone all that much. So I basically charge it like every other day. I used to have to charge it like pretty much when it wasn't in use, but now I don't. But yeah, just every time it gets low, plug her on in. Jaden's giving another link. Thank you so much. Oh, it's to Dave's swag channel. Thank you so much. John Doe said at Thrash. And then at Thrash to you too. Tom Lemmy says, which of Dave's channel has your shirt? Um, I'm not, he sent me a link to my um uh email address. I didn't know he had more than one swag channel. I thought it was just like when you go to his channel, it gives you a link to the place where you can buy the goodies. My understanding is it's on that. Tom, I don't know if I've ever given you my email address, but if you go on this channel at the very end when it goes to about, I have a business related email. If you want, I could send it to you in a link. I'll try again. And again, but Danny has just sent it. So Tom, if the link Danny sent you doesn't work, send me a message and I will see if I can be of some help. Oh, and yes, a lot of heavy casualties this in the past few days. Gary Carpenter says R.I.P. Jerry Springer. Yes, definitely. Tom Lemmer says R.I.P. Harry Belafonte. Definitely. John Bernstein says it's about time. That's a 60s TV show. Yes, and to be honest, I don't know why it failed. It had everything going for it. It had funny comedians. It had dinosaurs. The plot was ridiculous, but it was the 60s. Who cares? But It's About Time was a funny show. Big Guy says Jerry Springer's legacy is definitely a very strange and interesting one, for sure. For sure. Zublik says, wasn't Godzilla over 800 feet tall and King Kong was at best 100? I think he was even shorter than that. They artificially enlarged him for the sake of the drama, but you raise an excellent point, Superplex. In reality, it would have been hideously mismatched. Bobby Renee is joining us. Bobby Renee, how you doing? So glad you could make it. Says, hi, host with the most. If I may boast to you, our host, and the folks. Thank you, Bobby, for joining us, by the way. We haven't even started the trivia, so I'm glad you could make it. Hopefully you could join us in for that. But right now we're talking about some recent passing of celebrities. Any that really hit you, please feel free to enter that in the chat. Also, seem like vintage TV and reboot movies. So far, that's what we're talking about today. Gary Cameron says 60s TV shows. Great. Dominic D says, did Jerry Springer still have that courtroom show when he died? I don't think so. I don't think he did. Tug says nothing. He just jumped off the page. Oh, here it is. Tug says, which Irwin Allen sci-fi show from the 60s is your favorite? Lost in Space, Land of the Giants, Time Tunnel, or Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea? Hands down for me. No, I enjoyed all of those shows. Hands down for me, it would have to be Lost in Space. Penny is one of my first crushes. I love the idea of family space travel. I used to watch it with my father when I was little. It was just it's like part of my early development, I guess you would say. Cute little story about Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Sunday afternoons, my father, when he was young, He had 8 brothers and sisters, and they had a family tradition. After Sunday dinner, they would all move into the family room, which had the one TV in the house, and they would watch Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea as a family. And when my mother and father were dating, my mother knew that she was ensconced in the family because they invited her to watch Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea with them. That was the thing that's when she knew she was in. Now, the hideous divorce that followed later is a completely other story. Um, but I always found the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea to be, it had a soft spot in my family's history. Time Tunnel was cool, although there were certain inherent flaws with time travel that they didn't bother to ever go into. I could do a whole show on that, but I always enjoyed it. And Land of the Giants was just fun. So yeah, I loved all of them, but I'm gonna have to go with um Lost in Space. I'm gonna skip down. Oh, a lot of people like Voyager. John Bernstein says, "I'll test if you're computer literate. My son has a degree in computer science, and I grew up in Silicon Valley with the computer. Where have you been all my life? I might come to you if I have any homework." Oh, big guy says, "I need to go now. Battery's almost dead." Can you actually use your phone while it's plugged into the wall? I've actually done that a couple times myself. In fact, this is actually plugged into the wall right now. But anyway, glad you could stop by, Big Guys 45. We'll talk to you really, really soon. Danny Staten has given us another link to the T-shirt store. Thank you again, Danny. Oh, and Tug says, "Bye, a big guy. Good luck with the subs." Gary Carter says, "Geek Voyage." Voyage is getting some love. And Big Guy says, "Goodbye, and don't forget Sparks Dude 1974. Ken Wilkinson, Mr. Wilkinson, so nice to see you was in the house, says, "Good evening, Bob." Mr. Wilkinson, so great you could make it, by the way. Oh, and I love the photo you sent me with the mermaids. I assume that was at the Wadia Museum. Bobby says Gary built his a set. Gary build hissed a set. Gary row the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Tom Marie says, "I did get the link and checked out the shirts. Pretty cool. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm going to wear them sporadically in my upcoming broadcasts. Dennis DeLeo, hey, great to have you with us. By the way, thanks for bopping on in. DDL from the Bronx is in the house, home of Jonathan Harris and Larry Storch. Were they ever in a show together? There's they were both in many things. They must have been. They must. I don't think Larry Storch ever did Lost in Space, nor Jonathan Harris ever did F Troop. They both had their same Saturday morning cartoons shows around the same time. Live action, I should say. Ghostbusters was on around the same time Uncle Croc's Rock Block was on. I'll get back to you on that, by the way. But yeah, Bronx represent. Dominic D says Joe E. Ross and Imogene Coca were in That's About Time. They certainly were. And Imogene Coca, I thought was absolutely amazing. In everything she's done, and Joey Ross, of course, is great. Ooh, ooh. Is it true? I heard somewhere he used to do that because he would flub his lines, and he would literally, while the cameras were rolling, he would try to remember what his next line was. He would do the ooh, ooh, and it became a shtick. Les James says, "Thrash, I just bought your shirt. Thank you for two things. One, thank you for supporting both Dave and I. It's sort of a twofer. I get the exposure, he gets the buckaroos. But it also shows the site is back up and running. I don't know if it, because you said you had a problem buying one before. So maybe it just glitched and that glitch was resolved. But thank you across the board. Let's see. I just jumped again. Wow, I'm way behind. Oh, here we are. Tug says, They should have had King Kong fight Minya. More fair fight, and I'd actually root for King Kong for a change. I know Minya was possibly the most poorly executed monster in the Godzilla universe. Arguably. Arguably. Now, in fairness, in one case, it was a dream sequence. But even in the other, it wasn't particularly good. I did feel really, really bad, though, when the big Mantisai were trying to hurt him. That actually used to make me sad when I was a kid. But in a fair fight against a I don't know King Kong, Shadina says host with the most, who's warm as toast. Name the movie that's from. Beetlejuice? No. I'm all I can think of is Beetlejuice. I'm sorry. So I'm going with that. Danny Staten has given us another link. Thank you so much. Oh, it's actually I'm guessing it's one of your new oh yeah, my new science fiction good stuff channel, Star Trek, Star Wars, etc. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, I've been asking Danny. Danny has a lot of new channels out there now. I've been asking to drop links to all of them to make sure none fall through the cracks. Kevin Lee says, "I'll be right back. We'll be here." John Doe says originally King Kong was 40 feet. Originally Godzilla was around 150 feet tall. I thought originally he was like 300. But I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. That 40 feet for King Kong sounds about right. A lot of people having fellowship. John Doe says Shin Godzilla was 200 feet. Pardon me, I'd meatballs for dinner. 200 feet tall, I'll buy that. He just keeps getting bigger. So Blick says, I believe John Doe, the movie Godzilla, mentioned that the creature was 840 feet tall. I will have to take your word for it. House of Alex is here. Says, hi guys, hope everyone is well. If you haven't checked out House of Alex, he does some great stuff, by the way. He does like these very short film humor posts. A lot of them are, I call them mirror movies because he plays like it's like a dialogue and he does both parts. They're amazing. But then he does like other jokes and stuff too. It's great. So check him out. And I jumped, so I'm going to go back to try to pick up where I left off. There we go. Oh, look who else is here, by the way. John Collins says, I have an idea for a presentation which you should. I'm guessing that's do. I'm not sure what Prue is. But, John, I will definitely consider any presentation you present to me. So prepare the deets, and I will listen to them with the most vigor. John Doe says, look at the buildings that he knocks down, and you can judge how tall he was. Excellent point. Excellent point. So Blick says, that's the rug, John. King Kong could easily destroy subways, whereas Godzilla tore down entire buildings. Good. That's an excellent point. And Zuplex goes on to say, rub, not rug. Damn you, autocorrect. I was wondering what the rug had to do with anything, but anyway, that is the rub. Dominic D says, delete. I'm sorry, Dominic. Not Dominic D. Dennis DeLeo. Too many D's in this show. Imogene Coca was the senile aunt in the original Vacation movie. She certainly was. She stole the movie. I thought it was like one of the funniest bits, even though she was so obnoxious. I loved her in that. Watchamin is in the house. Says hello, everyone. Working on dinner, so I will be going back and forth. I'm glad you stopped by in any capacity, and I love the series you're doing on the dad jokes and the knock knock jokes. And Dan, would you be so kind as to give Watchamin a link? I'm sure everyone in this channel has already subscribed to you, but if you haven't, please do, because his dad jokes rival even mine. John Bernstein says King Kong versus the Smog Monster, with the ending showing Kong smoking a stogie. I love it. I love it. I love it. I actually wanted to do King Kong and Godzilla and Mechanized Godzilla fighting Anguillus in what would be called the world's most one-sided kaiju battle. John Doe says Kaiju Kong, that is not actually King Kong, is about 40 feet versus Godzilla. They were both about 100 feet tall. Well, the idea actually came from Willis O'Brien. He originally was going to be King Kong versus Frankenstein. Frankenstein was going to be artificially increased in size to the point where he could actually be comparable with Kong and fight him. They never made that movie, but when Toho bought the rights to King Kong, when he was doing King Kong versus Godzilla, they said, "Oh, this is interesting. Well, there's like a Frankenstein versus Kong, which we have access to now." And that was made into Frankenstein Conquers the World. And let's just see, I'm just going to catch up here. I just jumped again, but I'm going to go back a little bit. Wow, I'm way behind actually. Oh, Tom Memory says I subbed on it. Danny, thank you. Gary Cameron says Imogen Coker was on Bewitched as Mary the Good Fairy. I remember that. Did she have a drinking problem? Zublik says, well, T-Pawns mentioned King Kong versus Godzilla movies. Well, I did, yes. Thank you for Danny for the Wajameen link. Keith, he says, wouldn't Godzilla be in metric size? You would really think, wouldn't you? Another link to Alex. Thank you, Danny. John Collins says, I have an idea for you. You should produce presentation about all the events which I found in the song We Didn't Start the Fire. Discuss each event as they mentioned in the song. Thoughts? You remember ages ago, I believe, based on a suggestion of yours earlier, I was doing word of the day. And I can't even remember why I stopped doing that. To be honest, I think I just forgot. If you did, We Didn't Start the Fire, and you went from Harry Truman down to Cola Wars, it might be a little much to digest. What I would do is, for a series of posts, I would do one topic and do like topic 1 of 45 or however many he covers in the song. But I would do Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Wintle, Joe DiMaggio. I'm not going to do the entire song. I'm just showing you I'd have my work cut out for me. But it's kind of a neat shtick. And yes, I can certainly add that into live chats or my post. In fact, okay, we'll start with that. If anyone wants to talk about Harry Truman over the course of this show, we'll start with him. Alex says thank you. Thanks back to you for putting up the good material. Zublik says in the American release they used the Imperial system. Also, there's a deleted scene, and I think I probably discussed this on no less than 12 occasions. We actually find out in the Japanese movie, because the American one doesn't like mentioning World War II. In the Japanese movie, we find out that Dr. Shizawa, apologies if I mispronounce it, was developing the Oxygen Destroyer with the Germans during World War II. It was designed to staunch the Allied amphibious landings, which was kind of a problem for the Axis powers. But yes, he and German scientists were sharing ideas by shortwave. It's just mentioned very casually in the Japanese version, and it's not available in the American one. Let's just see what we get going on here. Karen Lee says, hi, Wedge. I'm doing the same thing. I guess you mean making food. John Doe says, if you notice, they don't call him King Kong. They just call him Kong and Kong versus Godzilla. They generally just call him Kong in most of the things I've seen. But yes, you were right. I'm going to skim down because a lot of people are just having fellowship and saying hello. Tug does say, that's because Godzilla is actually king of the monsters. That bothered me too as a kid. There's Godzilla, king of the monsters, and King Kong. Well, he's king of the Kongs. Um, did I ever tell you when I was a kid, I had a conceptualization. I guess this is something like out of Destroy All Monsters. When I was going to have a birthday party, that all the kaiju monsters were going to come to my birthday party, and they'd drink gasoline instead of punch, and we'd play games like Boulder Ball and stuff like that. And years later, my first semester in college, my roommate submitted a variation of this idea. I told him about it. We spitballed it into an idea for a creative writing project he did in one of his classes, where it was a bachelor party for Godzilla. Godzilla was getting married, and King Kong plays his rowdy friend from college that none of the other monsters like, and um, they get a pterodactyl to jump out of a cake, and which is actually shaped like a volcano. And Rodan set that up, and he actually did very well with his creative writing project, based on an idea I had when I was a kid. I thought that was cool. I have great ideas, just never good executions. And I just jumped again. I'm going to scroll through here. We're up to 15 now. That's good. I like to get her up to 20 before I do the contest. But let's see. Danny's giving us more links. That's very, very good. Tug says, I'll be listening, but I need a snack, so I won't be in the chat for a few minutes. No worries. We're going to delay the game for a little bit. Anywho, Lens Javen says, Tug, they should do Jet Jaguar with today's effects. I can see that. Zublik says, Bon appetit, Tug. Wajimine says, thanks for the kind word, Thrash. Gary Garber says, we are missing the hungry jerk. He'll be back. And until then, he remains in our thoughts. Daryl Johnson says, Godzilla Earth. He was 984 feet tall. Daryl, really? 984 feet tall in Godzilla Earth? That is crazy. John Doe says, 60s movies, King Kong versus Godzilla. New movie, King Godzilla versus Kong. There was also King Kong Escapes with Doctor Who. Not that Doctor Who, a different Doctor Who. Tom Lemony says, Emily, Cindy D, and Tracy too, Gary. Yes, hopefully that will show up in the not too distant future. And I'll just see. I'm going to skip down. Liz Javen says, Gary, Cindy, Tracy, Emily, Lisa, you forgot some. Danny Staten has given us more links. Good. Daryl Johnson says, please hit the like button. What he said. Godzilla says, Godzilla says, Zublik, I'm getting ahead of myself tonight. Zublik says, if Godzilla can resist missiles and artillery, then what chance does King Kong have? King Kong has secret weapons. I can't tell you because they are a secret. Dennis DeLeo says, May Questel, the original voice of Olive Oil and Betty Boop, was the senile aunt in Christmas Vacation. Yes, she was. Very well played. Yes, she was. Good stuff. Ken Wilkinson says, I was thinking, where is Emily? I was talking to her early today. I seem to think that she was going to stop by tonight. Maybe she got stuck having to work. Len says, I just texted Tracy. Zublik says, King Kong was defeated with machine guns. Yes. Aerial machine guns, but machine guns nonetheless. Dennis DeLeo says, shout out to all my fellow Thrashers. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Very, very kind of you. Daryl John says, no, 'twas beauty which killed the beast. Very good. I use that myself, actually. I think in a trivia game or something. But excellent, Daryl. Good use of the source material. Dominic D says she was great in Christmas Vacation. Her old husband was very funny too. I can't remember the actor's name. I could see him plain as day. I see him plain as day, but I can't think of his name. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, hello, Thrash. Happy final day of April. Teb, I am so glad you could make it and we can round out the month together. Welcome to the party. Tom Lem. Oop, I just jumped again. Am I really this far behind? Oh, yeah, because Teb showed up. Everybody wants to say hello to Teb. Tom Lumby says the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" is like I've been everywhere, listing so many things in Rapture. Good point. There was also a song. Oh, what was it? What was it? I can't think of the name of it. My old roommate used to call it the Encyclopedia song. It was the song by Neil Diamond where he just rattles off like 75 names of famous people. Um, Jenny Staten says that Kong from the 30s was a 50-foot baby Kong. The one from today is an adult, like that mutation Kong that was in Japan. Excellent exposition. Thank you very, very much. Lublick says King Kong as a ballroom dancing instructor. He would really bring down the house. Bring down the house. Let's just see here. Alex says, has there ever been a King Kong TV series? There was an animated King Kong TV series, I want to say in the late 60s. It didn't last long, but that's the closest to an actual King Kong series. It was Kong and a little kid that he adopts, and they have adventures together. Zublik says King Kong as today's El Greco. Zublik says Chitty Chitty. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Zublik says Cha Cha Kong. Ba-dum-bumps. Tom says, I don't think so, Alex. Oh, to the King Kong TV show. There was that one animated show, but that's it. There's no live action. Lance Jamin says, Alex, they had one in cartoon form. Ah, thank you, Lance. Tim says, have you ever seen the 1998 Godzilla reboot with Matthew Broderick? We were talking about that last week. I remember mentioning if it had been called Big Iguana Eats New York, I could have had fun with it. They called it Godzilla, and it was not. It was absolutely not a Godzilla. Oh, another person used to call it Jurassic Park 3 before there was such a thing. It was certainly closer to Jurassic Park. I did like Jean Reno's character. I did like Jean Reno as the head of the French special forces, and is it Tom Lerner, a young man who just passed on recently, as the mayor, did a good a bit part. Yeah, so it did have Hank Azaria is good in it. It did have some redeeming qualities, but it was not a Godzilla movie. Oh, Tug's like, I'm back. Excellent, good to have you back. And I just jumped again, so let's just see where we left off. Here we are. Elizabeth says, hate Matthew Broderick will never watch another one of his films. Ouch. Tug says there was a cartoon based on the 1998 Godzilla. It was better than the movie, actually. I had heard that. Never watched it, but I had heard that. I think I used to sell it in my video shop. Alex says, don't think I've seen the cartoon. Could be fun series to make now. I believe some are actually right here on YouTube, possibly. Dominic D says, I don't like that 1998 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. Just my opinion. It's shared by a lot of people. Apologies if you do like it, but no, a lot of people didn't like it. Tug says, who was Godzilla marrying for the bachelor party? Did he steal Fay Ray from King Kong? No, he was marrying a T-Rex. They just it was an off-camera monster. Zublik says, I remember the original King Kong cartoon from the 60s. Excellent. Keithy says, I think Hungry/Tom and Baked Bean always watch you on rerun. Baked Bean is like one of my biggest rerun supporters. In fact, thank you for reminding me. Baked Bean, when you're watching this in rerun, hello, and hope to see you very, very soon. Tom says Hungry might be working. Tom is working, by the way. He sent me a message earlier that he'd be in the kitchen, but he'd be listening to me. So Tom, again, thank you for listening, young man. You're with us in spirit. Make that lasagna, make it like the wind, and be sure to join Tug's show because we will definitely be talking about Wizards. And my retrospect on Wizards will be done after I take the computer course. I can actually do it to the quality I would like to do. Zublik says that stupid-looking flying turtle Tug, the one whose name shall not be mentioned. Uh, Tug says hello to everyone he may have missed. Oh, speaking of missing things, by the way, I'm not sure if you got it or not, but and by the way, check out Tug's recent retrospect on not Journey to the Center of the Earth, my other favorite Irwin Allen movie. Um, he's gonna like say it in the comments before I can think of it. But oh, the Lost World, Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World. He was talking about how some of the similarities between uh Michael Rennie and Claude Rains, and that Michael Rennie actually got the part of Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still, and Michael Rennie had turned it down. Well, you were talking about how Claude Rains had a really nasty cold while they were making The Lost World, and I said, "Well, that's funny because Michael Rennie was ill during the production of The Day the Earth Stood Still." That's actually from science fiction double feature in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Michael Rennie was ill the day the earth stood still. And speaking of other connections he has with Claude Rains, the song opens with Claude Rains was the Invisible Man. So they actually mentioned both of them in that song. Just a little tidbit I decided to share and waste more time, so I'm even more behind. Ken Wilkinson says, Bob, did they make a Doctor Who cartoon? Not to my knowledge. They had talked about it, but they never actually did. Tracy Ross Myers is here. Says, "Hey, all Tracy, so glad you could make it. We were hoping you could." Lisa Fields is here too. Hi, Thrash. Hey, everyone. Lisa Fields, I'm so glad you could make it too. That is awesome. I saw you post on my Facebook reminder. I'm very glad you could make it. Tug says the Animaniacs song where he sings all 50 states is pretty great. It is. A girl I used to work with had it memorized. What Bean says, I think it is William Hickey from Christmas Vacation. I would bet money you are right. I can see him, and you are absolutely right. He actually is the one. He plays the drunk of the producers, the one they hang out with at the bar. And let's see, I'm trying to catch up here, so I'm going to. Oh, Trader Meyer says I prefer the Gorn from Star Trek. A lot of people having fellowship. Dennis Hayden says, "Wait, was it called Grape Ape?" Laugh my blank off. Grape Ape was loosely based on King Kong, but no, there was an actual King Kong cartoon. Grape Ape was just an homage to King Kong. And let's just see. I jumped again, so I'm going to scroll back. I prefer the Gorn. There we go. Liz James said, I just texted you. Oh, you to make sure you hear. Skimming down. Len says, Tracy, I bought Thrash's shirt. Thank you again for that, by the way. Tracy says, Svengoolie was on point last night. I wish I had watched it. I didn't get a chance. Please fill in on his pointedness in the comments below. House of Alex says, where do you find the link for your shirt, Thrash? It's actually Denny gave it a little while ago. In fact, I think we asked him nicely. Would you give another link to the T-shirt site, Mr. Denny, old buddy of mine, old sock, old kid, old friend? Zublik says, can you imagine the size of King Kong's cow pies? Ew. I can. That's part of the problem. And who would clean up after this? Zublik says, I wonder who would clean up after that. Oh, uncanny. Danny Staten has actually given another link to Dave's store. Thank you very, very much. You did that even before I could ask you. Tug says there are a series of anime Godzilla movies on Netflix that I hear aren't very good. I've heard that as well. Tug says, boy, is T-Pawns backed up. Yes, I am, but I've been taking prune juice. I'm going to... Oh, Tom says, wasn't it Fred Lerner and not Tom Lerner? Passed away some time ago. I believe you're right. Thank you. I got the first name wrong, but you are correct. Tug says the Lost World. See, I told you he was going to say it in the comments. Yes, the Lost World. I got it though before I saw it though, didn't I? Let's just see. Dennis DeLeo says, "Try Life is a Rock, but the radio rolled me." By Reunion, if you want to hear a slew of rock references. Love that song. But yes, I will never learn the lyrics. Alex says someone may have said this, but there is a King Kong series in the work for Disney Plus. Really? That could be fun. Dominic D says, "Yeah, that's a good song with a lot of pop culture references." Janice, it is. It's a great song with a lot of references. Um, okay, now that I'm at the bottom, because I jumped, I'm going to start at the bottom, work my way up. Life and Sad Ending is here. It says, "Hi, all. Hi to you too, Life." This goes without saying. If you haven't subscribed to the Life and Sad Ending, you've got to. I love your live and kicking videos. I love your memorial posts. Um, references to people that we've lost very, very recently. References to people we lost some time ago that we still miss. Love what you're putting out. Tab says, which of these criminally unrelated 80s sitcoms do you prefer better? Too Close for Comfort, Give Me a Break, Silver Spoons, It's a Living, Mr. Belvedere, Head of the Class, or The Hogan Family? I actually watched most of them. I would have to go with Too Close for Comfort because I had a crush on Lydia Coronel. But Give Me a Break, Silver Spoons was good. It's a Living, I always thought was very, very funny and criminally overrated. Mr. Belvedere was a riot. Speaking of the producers, Head of the Class was good, and I did like the Hogan Family. But I'm going to race backwards again. Hello again, Steve. Thanks for joining us. So I can try to catch up backwards, and then I'm going to jump down to the bottom. Simply says, "So which Mickey Mouse is your spirit animal, Tug?" Oh, Alex says, "Be sure to hit the like button." and and Denny has given us another link. Thank you very much. Um, apparently, Hungry Jerk is here. Says, "Hey, DD, Tom, I'm so glad you're able to stop in. I thought you were working. Maybe you're on a break or something, but I'm very, very glad you could make it." Zubik says, "In the song, King Kong is 10 times as big as a man." Probably far, far more than that, but these are for kids, so they only had limited capacity for size appreciation. Alex says, "I'm pretty sure Disney will own the world at some point." I thought they already did. Dominic D says, "William Hickey was on Cheers a lot too. A very funny actor. He certainly was. He really was." Uh, Tug says, "While you're doing a series on We Respect the Fire, I should do the same with Midnight Double Feature Picture Show. Now that's stuck in my head. All part of my master plan." Zubik says, "Well, there goes King Kong, I guess. House of Alex." Dominic D says, "Yeah, it's a good song with a lot of pop culture." Oh, I think I'm caught up. I am. I'm caught up. So now I'm going to go back down to the bottom and um, try to stay uh, on point. Daryl says, "Hey, that's a pretty cool T-shirt. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm dying to get them myself. Actually, thank you again, Danny, for another link." Tracy Breathmeyer says, "Steve, your channel is the best. It really is. It's great stuff." Steve says, "Thank you to that," and it's from all of us. Tug says, "Super, I do have a Mickey shaped mole on my leg." Don't ask me how that got there. Tom says, "Pat charged me $50 for my retro TV trivia shirt." You're kidding. Ouch. Ouch. Indeed. Double ouch. Tim says, "What are your thoughts on the recent passing of Jerry Springer?" I'm actually very sad. I'm very sad. I was not a giant fan of his show, but it was very innovative, and I thought he was a pretty stand-up dude, apart from a few shenanigans in his past. Zublik says, "Never go full Mickey unapologetic. You will never win the Oscar." Lance is telling Hungry that he bought one of my shirts. Uh, oh, and Tracy says, anyone see Michael J. Fox on Sunday morning CBS this morning? It broke my heart. My wife was crying. It broke my heart. Tab says, which of these beloved 70s family friendly dramas do you prefer better? The Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, Family, or Eight is Enough? Love Little House on the Prairie. Probably one of my favorite shows of like all time. The Waltons were good, but I didn't watch it religiously. I think it was on against something else I watched. Family was good. I used to watch that actually, but my father loved that show. So when I was visiting him, he and I would watch it, but I was home. I would just sort of like watch it. Um, anyway, but Eight is Enough was pretty good, but I would have to go with Little House. Tom says, I don't know. He gave me one when I met him. I assume you mean Dave. Steve says, where is your Thrash Flash t-shirt, Thrash? I tried to order two of them actually, and one for my wife. And there was some problem with the site at the time, so we're going to try again tomorrow. We haven't given up. She wants me with her when she orders them, and we work different schedules, so we don't see each other a lot during the week. Danny says, I saw a special on the new Kong series, Jurassic Park, with Kong in the Inner Earth. Ooh, that sounds fun. 420 is here. It says, hello, sorry I'm late. 420, you are always on time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're just about to start the trivia game. Ooh, we have over 20 people, so we're going to start the trivia game. Tug says that Dog and Duck Hunt is the greatest villain in video game history. That laugh when you miss. Yeah, it was great. Mike Silva's here. Mike, I'm so glad you could make it to the party, having fellowship with everybody. Very glad you could make it, and you're just in time for the trivia game. Len says, anyone buying Thrash's shirt, apply Thrash. It's the promo code at checkout. Yeah, you save like 10% or something decent. Daryl says, really, Tom? I thought he was your friend. That's a lot of money for a t-shirt. It is pretty steep. So anyway, I'm going to start. Tab, I saw you have another comment there. I will get back to it. Oh, and Danny says my grandparents would punish us by making us watch Lawrence Welk show and the Waltons. Ouch. Ed Zublik says wasn't a fan of either, but I guess it would be the Waltons. Um, I will get back to your comment, Tim, but I do want to start the trivia game now that we have. Oh, number one, Jude is in the house. I'm late to the party. Well, we will forgive you this time. But anyway, so glad you can be. You're just in time for the trivia game, and it is on 60s TV shows and events. But I will start now, and as always, in no particular order. And question 10 is, which iconic housewife in her 1960 divorce suit claimed that her marriage had become all booze and broads? Was it A, Lucille Ball, B, Donna Reed, C, Harriet Nelson, or D, Jane White? I shall repeat. Which iconic TV housewife said in her 1960 divorce suit that her marriage had become all booze and broads? And you're all on point. Yes, A, Lucille Ball. You could have almost guessed that one, but it so sounded like something Lucy would have said. So even if you weren't familiar with her divorce from Desi Arnaz. Moving on to number 9. Who convinced Nichelle Nichols to continue to play Lieutenant Uhura after she had decided to leave Star Trek after the first season? Was it A, Muhammad Ali, B, Jim Brown, C, Martin Luther King, or D, Malcolm X? I shall repeat. Who had convinced Nichelle Nichols to continue to play Lieutenant Uhura after she had decided to leave Star Trek after season 1? And I'm not even going to bother to repeat the choices because yes, you guys are all on point today. Either giving the correct answer of C or the abbreviations of Martin Luther King, or in Ted's case, he spelled it out. So yes, you are correct. It was Martin Luther King. Moving forward to number 8. Which sketch comedy series was the top ranked primetime series in the year 1969? Was it A, Rhoda Martin's Laugh-In, B, The Carol Burnett Comedy Hour, C, SNL, or D, Monty Python's Flying Circus? I shall repeat. Which sketch comedy series was the top rated prime time series in 1969? And you guys are all on point tonight, with a couple of minor exceptions. But yes, it was A, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Number 7. Which man's testimony before a Senate subcommittee prevented PBS from losing funding in 1969? Was it A, Fred Rogers, B, Johnny Carson, C, Jack Benny, or D, Milton Berle? And you know what? I'm not going to bother to repeat the question. You guys already got this. Yes, it's A, Fred Rogers. Moving on to question 6, and then we'll do some quick scores. Which actor played widower Tom Corbett in The Courtship of Eddie's Father? Was it A, Bill Bixby, B, Ray Walston, C, Lou Ferrigno, or D, Jack Calvin? And again, I'm not even going to bother to repeat the question. You guys all got this. Yes, you are absolutely correct. It is Bill Bixby. Oh, I looked. Tracy's giving the initials BB for Bill Bixby. Oh, and Tug has started off. Yes, please with scores. Tug is 5 for 5. Keithy is 3 out of 5. Mike gave us A, which is the correct answer. Joe Blix is 5 for 5. Sean Innes is 5 for 5. Life and Sad Ending, I would have been heartbroken if you weren't 5 for 5. Life and Sad Ending is 5 for 5. Teb, 5 for 5. Tracy is all. Tom Lemry is 5 for 5. Dominic D is 5 for 5. 420 is 1 out of 5. Well, that's, you got one of them. That's excellent. Excellent. Karen Lee Maloney is answering A. Number one dude got 2. Again, if you're not familiar with these shows, the fact that you can guess any of them is still amazing. So no, 2 is solid, but Ken Wilkinson is 5 for 5. Monk Silva says, "Oh, Marty McFly is doing his DeLorean bit." Dennis DeLeo is 5 for 5, and Mike Silva is 2 of 5. Zublik says it gets worse. Yeah, it certainly does. And Karen Lee is, yes, 5 was the question. Number 5 is A. The answer to the question number 5 is A. Excellent. Oh, and number dude says, yes, hit the like button. Oh, Mike Silva says, gotta go, guys. Mike, hey, thanks so much for stopping in. Glad you could join us. Glad you took part in the first half. And again, you made a time machine out of a DeLorean? Well, if you're gonna make a time machine out of a car, you should do it with some style. Tug says, I only knew the last one as a fluke because I was reading up on Bill Bixby not too long ago. I know. I think we all saw that very nice post about the feud between Bill Bixby and oh dear. Oh, Michael Landon from Little House on the Prairie. I'd have been really embarrassed if I couldn't think of who the other person was. But yes. And a lot of people saying goodbye to Mike. Yes, goodbye, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will definitely keep in touch. Karen Lee says, I'm behind again, so I will just listen. Well, you might catch up with the second level, but again, the fact that you guys keep playing means a lot, by the way, because it's not about the winning and the losing. I mean, again, it's a contest with me. It's a game with me. It's not even a contest because there's no prize, but it's just fun to all take part. But anyway, moving on to question 5. The main character of which gothic soap opera was a vampire? Was it A, Strange Paradise, B, Dark Shadows, C, One Life to Live, or D, All My Children? I shall repeat. The main character of which gothic soap opera was a vampire? Was it A, Strange Paradise, B, Dark Shadows, C, One Life to Live, or D, All My Children? Number one, dude, I love the fact that you suggested One Life to Live. That's great. But anyway, yes, Dark Shadows. Um, I thought some people might get that because of the recent reboot. But yes, Dark Shadows was the Gothic American soap opera with Barnabas Collins. You guys remember? I did. Danny sent me the comic book, and I did a read through of it. Yeah, yeah, it all comes together. Oh, Tug says, although One Life to Live would have been way more fun, it certainly would have. It certainly would have. Okay, here's a creepy one. In 1962. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not the creepy one. The creepy one will come a little bit later. I'll tell you when the creepy one gets here. In 1962, who did Johnny Carson replace as the host of The Tonight Show? A, Steve Allen. B, Ernie Kovacs. C, Jack Parr. Or D, Dick Cavett? Wow, some of you answered before I can even finish reading the selections. So you know what? I'm not even going to bother to repeat the question. Actually, I will for people who are still trying to guess. In 1962, who did Johnny Carson replace as the host of The Tonight Show? A, Steve Allen, B, Ernie Kovacs, C, Jack Parr, or D, Dick Cavett? And yes, it's a high C there. Jack Parr was the original host of The Tonight Show. Actually, was there somebody even before him? There may have been somebody even before him. But no, I think he was the initial. Number 3. Which long-running sci-fi series premiered the day after the Kennedy assassination? And this one's the creepy one. Was it A, Star Trek, B, The Invaders, C, Twilight Zone, or D, Doctor Who? And Superplex, again, I'm so proud of you. You guessed it before I could even read all the selections. And for those of you who aren't sure, try to remember when the Kennedy assassination was and what show would have come out around that time. But which long-running sci-fi series premiered the day after the Kennedy assassination? A, Star Trek, B, The Invaders, C, Twilight Zone, or D, Doctor Who? And number one, dude, I can't say I blame you for guessing Twilight Zone. Close. Twilight Zone premiered in 1959. The answer was, in fact, Doctor Who. Question 2. Joan Rivers made her debut on what TV show? A, The Mike Douglas Show. B, Nightlife. C, The Tonight Show. Or D, The Joey Bishop Hour? I will repeat. Joan Rivers made her debut on what television show? A, The Mike Douglas Show. B, Nightlife. C, The Tonight Show. Or D, The Joey Bishop Hour? And most of you got this one too. It was C, The Tonight Show. And that is why Johnny Carson never, after years, ever forgave Joan Rivers. When Fox was a fledgling TV series, network rather, they were trying to find programming that could rival the other big three. And Joan Rivers was offered her own show, whereas Johnny had been grooming her to take over The Tonight Show. They were long-term friends in addition to working together on The Tonight Show for many years. And she took the show on Fox and she didn't even tell Johnny. Johnny found out in channels. And the story goes he called her up in the middle of the night and all he did was said, you could have told me. And before she could explain, he slammed the phone down on her. Yep, so he never forgave her. He gave her her start, which isn't to say she would have had a career without him, but he certainly helped her with it. Zerblix implies an illicit relationship between the two of them. I'm not sure, but nothing would surprise me. In any event, the last question one, is what actor won his third straight Emmy in 1963 playing a small town deputy? Oh, she did admit it. Zublik says she admitted that she did. Oh, and Tom Leary brings up a point. I thought maybe she first appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. According to the TV Guide book of trivia, it was the Johnny Carson Show. She may have been on Ed Sullivan a little bit later, or they may have been a mistake. And you know what? I'm not even going to bother to read the selections. No, I'm going to for the people still playing. What actor won his third straight Emmy in 1963 for playing a small town deputy? Was it A. Jim Nabors, B. Don Knotts, C. George Lindsay, or D. Ken Berry? And there was this damn autocorrect again. Oh, Dumbledore says she was the voice for Letterman in segment of Sesame Street. I did not know that. But yes, I figured any fan of Dave's would not possibly miss a Barney Fife question. So anyway, that was a trivia game for tonight. You guys did outstandingly well. How about some scores? And again, for those of you who didn't do as well as you would have liked, I want to thank you all for playing along. I'll pick another decade next time, and hopefully that will level the field. Daryl Johnson says about 1982, she was appointed the first permanent guest host of the Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. For 1962, a lot of 10 out of 10s, a 9 out of 10, an 8 out of 10. You guys all did very well. I'm going to try to read them off. I'm going to go back here. Zuplex is 10 out of 10. Tug is 9 out of 10. Tom Marie is 8 out of 10. Steve is 10 out of 10. Tom Marie is 10 out of 10. Tracy is all. John H is here. John, how you doing? John H got one, but he joined late. Well, thank you for joining in any capacity. Dominic D says, I think Joan Rivers was a writer on the Ed Sullivan Show, wrote a lot of the Topo Gigolo sketches. Cool. I'm not familiar with that bit, but I'll take your word for it. John H says, hi, Thrash. Yes, hello, John H. I'm so glad you could make it. Teb, rather than scroll all the way back to try to find the question that you posed that I wasn't able to read, could you repeat the question? And we will throw that into the floor. Not onto the floor, to the floor. Tug says, but all you fine people are 10 out of 10 to me. I couldn't have said it better myself. You guys are great. This is like so much fun. WD says 100% wish I did that well in high school, don't we all? John H says Joan Rivers was a writer for Candid Camera in its last CBS years. You know, it's so funny you mentioned Candid Camera. I didn't put this in the trivia game, but I read this and I almost fell out of my chair. Apparently, this is a true story. At some point in the 60s, a plane was hijacked, and all the passengers on the plane thought it was a joke because it just happened. Then Alan Funt was in the plane as a passenger when it was hijacked, and they go, "Oh, we're on Candid Camera." No, no, you don't get it. We're being hijacked. Thankfully, it wasn't a bloodbath. But can you imagine? Can you imagine thinking you're on a reality show and things are really going south? Steve says Tipo Gigio was a puppet. Oh, Topo Gigio. I'm gonna get it right if it kills me. Topo Gigio. Well, topo, I believe, is Spanish for a subterranean animal, a mole, as in El Topo. Gigio, I guess, is a type of wine because you have Pinot Grigio. Let's just see. Danny Stain says, I have returned. Dominic D says, yep, a mouse puppet. I was close. And Lance Chafin says, Tug, I get the shirt in enough time. We'll wear it on the next stream. That would be awesome sauce. I believe it's 10 days is when they recommended you would receive it. Number one dude says, smile, you're on candid camera. And Tug says, that's an awesome idea. Oh, and respecting my wish, unfortunately, just jumped again. Wow. Oh, actually, I think I went past it again. Oh, here it is. Teb says, which of these beloved 70s female-centric action shows do you prefer better? Bionic Woman, Police Woman, Charlie's Angels, or Wonder Woman? Good shows, I would have to go with Wonder Woman first. I love that show, particularly the first season. It was actually time appropriate. It was set in World War II. I love me my Charlie's Angels. You know the story behind that, right? Aaron Spelling, when during World War II, was writing for the Special Services, and he had a crush on the Andrews sisters. So he visualized. It wasn't going to be like TV because that was very up and coming at the time, but it was going to be a series of short films like serials, and it was going to be an all-girl group similar to the Andrews sisters. They were going to be three women singers who were USO singers by day, but at night were secret agents and fought Nazis. And it wasn't the idea never went anywhere. But years later, he repurposed the idea and used it as they became three lady cops, and it became Charlie's Angels. Little and forgive me for getting distracted, but I'm actually trying to find the question because it jumped again while I was pontificating. Bionic Woman was good, but I still think I didn't like it as much as the $6 Million Man. And Police Woman, I never watched Police Woman. I don't know why. My for some reason my grandparents did. My grandfather loved police procedural shows, and I think I may have watched it once or twice with them, but it didn't really with me. So it says Police Woman just for Andy Dickinson cleavage shot alone. That was probably part of the problem when that show was on. I was a little young. Tug says I've already recorded my last batch of Outer Limits reviews, but I'll wear a Thrash shirt for an episode of whatever series I tackle next. You are too kind. Oh, Les Javen, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. You need a Tug of War shirt. Oh my God, Tug of. I'm going to start calling you the Tug of War now. Cry havoc, and let's slip the Tug of War. Tracy Roman says, "Holy see the hijacking." Yes, I know, right? Levin said anything says Eddie. John H says, Topo Gigio was Italian. Oh, Topo Gigio was Italian. Thank you. I think I'll get it now. Was Italiano. Me dispiace. Mi Italiano's bruta. Tom says, would that be pronounced Gigio? Could be. Tracy says, I want a shirt. Where do I go? Danny has given a couple links actually here to go to Dave's store channel. And thank you. Thank you so much, Tracy, for buying a shirt. They're very, very kind of you. Steve says, when it's least expected, you're elected. You're a star today. Smile. You're on candid camera. I loved that show when I was a kid. Um, let's just see. Tug says, I prefer Jello myself. Karen Lee says, I don't know if you saw it, but my phone is lagging way behind, so that's why I bowed out. 50s and 60s TV is my specialty, so I'm bummed. Oh, well, next time. You know what? Play it and replay. Play it and replay. See how many of them you would have gotten. Karen Lee, I'm sorry. I missed the fact that your phone was gigging on you. And I'm very sorry. But yeah, try to play it in replay. And honor system. You decide how many you would have gotten. Because remember, when you cheat, you're only cheating yourself. I stole that from somewhere. Ozzy and Harriet, I think. Lance James or shirt called Tug, the Tug Life. Oh, the Tug Life. Daryl Johnson says that's a good one, Lance. It really is, Lance. That's a really good one. Tug says I'm actually working behind the scenes of my own merch, Lance. I like those. Do so. If Dave doesn't do it, I will. Shiblik says Aaron Spelling evidently was in need of prescription lenses because the Andrews sisters were not all that good looking. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. But mean. But he was a very young man, and he was in the army where he wasn't getting exposed to a lot of women. And there were women in uniform, and some men find that attractive. So you know what? Hey, prescription glasses. If I remember correctly, he wore Coke bottles too, so I think he may be onto something there. John says a Tug Life. Use it, Tug, instead of but yeah, and then we could that's I love that one too. I really do. Dominic D says I have to go make dinner. See you all later. Great live stream, Thrash. Thanks. Dominic D, thank you so much for joining us. By the way, it's always great having you with us. A lot of people saying goodbye to Dominic D. Tim says, "Oh, I just jumped again." Oh, well, before I scroll back up too, I got to say, Retro Nerd Girl's with us. Retro Nerd Girl's here and says, I rushed home. So glad I catch the show. I'm so glad you catch the show as well, by the way. We'll be going strong for at least another 15 minutes or so. If you want, go back and replay after we're done live and take the trivia game. But Retro, I'm so glad you could make it. And here it is. Tracy Rosmeyer says, "I want a shirt too, Robert." Definitely go to Dave's store channel and pick it out. Oh, by the way, Retro, I don't know if you heard. By the way, Dave Sundstrom, at Lance's suggestion, made shirts in the Flash Gordon logo that say "Thrash Pondo," and I've been immortalized in Dave's shirts, and you can actually buy those at Dave's store channel store. Tab says, which of these beloved female-centric sitcoms do you prefer better? The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Rhoda, Maud, One Day at a Time, Alice, or Laverne and Shirley? I'm just going to take them in order because I watched all of them. Mary Tyler Moore Show, loved it. I did like Maud, and I liked Rhoda. Love One Day at a Time, had a super crush on Valerie Bertinelli. Alice was great, and Laverne and Shirley. I would find it very, 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 very hard to actually put those in order of importance. I would say probably because I watched them all as a child, Laverne and Shirley would probably narrowly edge it out as my favorite. Let's just see what else we got going on here. John H says the I makes the G soft in Italian, but is otherwise unpronounced. Gotcha. Thank you. Triple says, wow, so many good shows, Terrell, but I have to go with the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Probably the best written show. That was probably the best written show of the ones that you suggested. I'll just see a lot of people saying hello to Retro Nerd Girl, as they should. Everybody, Retro Nerd Girl, everybody here loves you. You are awesome. Love the stuff you're putting on. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that I have to work. Hopefully, I'll have the schedule ironed out to an extent in the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. so I can actually maybe make it to some of your actual events again. I've just been so busy. Even replay has been difficult for me. I am dropping the cafe job because I'm going to be taking a computer course. I signed up for this very extensive computer course, which hopefully will help me do a lot of things with my channel that I've been dying to do. That's my big news. But I haven't forgotten about you, RNG, and I'll try to make it to more of your shows in the not too distant future. Hopefully, very very soon. Danny has given us another link to Dave's store. Thank you. RNG says t-shirts sound cool. Thank you. Let's just see. Retro Girl says hi, BK. Oh, BK on the air is here. Did I miss BK on the air? Oh, he is. I'm so sorry. Must have jumped right past you. BK on the air says, "Hey, Thrash and everyone. Hey, BK. So great you could make it. Can't wait for the next upcoming Retro Palooza. I am like so pumped for it." While we're on the subject, how's my picture and sound quality tonight, by the way? Because I want to make absolutely sure it's perfect for the next Retropalooza. If it kills me, Tab says, which of these beloved 70s ensemble sitcoms do you prefer better? MASH, Bob Newhart Show, Barney Miller, or Taxi? You struck gold there, my friend. You struck gold. MASH would have to be number one. Um, Taxi would probably be number two. I just thought that show was just so incredibly fun and the characters were just so phenomenal. Barney Miller is a close running at the third, and I really like the Bob Newhart show. So I hate to put it last because it's such a good show. But again, you have the Mount Rushmore of ensemble cast shows there. So I would have to go with that. Steve says, can you do the shorts, Thresh? They really help subscriber numbers. I was just talking with Danny about that. Only a few days ago. I am. I am. I haven't had a chance to put up any content this week. Last couple weeks, the only content I've been putting out have been these live chats. I got some ideas for content lined up, and I'm going to start doing shorts. And Jenny even said you can even you just like you've been doing, Steve. You clip, you take old posts, and just clip a little piece out of them here and there, pop them in. You will see that hopefully next week. I would like to get that started. So yes is the short answer. So because great on both T-pawns. Thank you. Oh, and Steve says a good picture and sound good. 420 says it's perfect. Tracer Reminder says 100% Robert. Danny Stan says looks great. You guys are awesome. You're so good for my self-esteem. You really are. Keithy says, hey, Super, I've enjoyed your comments tonight. Yeah, Super, you've been on fire tonight. Oh, you guys all have been. But Super, you've been particularly just you've been the zeitgeist of the evening, and we thank you. BK on the air says looking good, sounding good, feeling good. Too. Shannon says sound picture great. Retro Nerd Girl says thanks so much, Danny Staten, for sharing my link. Isn't he the greatest about link shares? He really is. Oh, Caroline Maloney says good night, all. Karen Lee, thank you so much for joining us tonight. By the way, sorry having trouble with your phone. More sympathetic I could not be. Have a wonderful evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing you very, very soon. Liz Javen says, RNG, love you, my space cadet. Oh, that's so sweet. And she says, love you too. Liz Javen says, Cull had Kevin Sorbo and Tia Carrera and Thomas Ian Griffith. You know what I found out recently about Cull the Conqueror? The princess, so sorry, I forget her name, both in the film and in real life. But to any of you Bryan Adams fans out there, there was when he did a series of music videos on a theme, and there was this little girly girl who was sort of crushing on him. That's the princess from Krull the Conqueror, or I keep calling Krull the Conqueror from Krull. I recently found that I was like. Tab says, which of these beloved 90s sitcoms do you prefer better? Full House, Family Matters, Saved by the Bell, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Seinfeld, Murphy Brown, Roseanne, Married with Children, or Friends? I have to go with Married with Children. That was my favorite show of the 90s. Roseanne, Friends had their moments. I did love Murphy Brown when I was going through my political phase. Seinfeld was great. Fresh Prince of Bel Air, I watched on occasion. It certainly had its moments. Never got to Saved by the Bell. Family Matters was good, and I never really liked Full House. Sorry for those of you who like those shows. Zublik says, "Thank you, Keith E. Originally, I thought your comment was directed at T Pawns, who is great as usual. I truly appreciate your comment." Well, Duplex, thank you for in that comment actually throwing me a compliment. So thank you for the compliment towards your compliment. You guys are just great. You really are. You really are. Tom Marie says, RNG, did you have a chance to see the clip I sent you? Hopefully she did. Tracy Rothmeyer says, time for me to get going too. Nice seeing everyone. Tracy, I want to thank you so much for joining us, by the way. Keep cranking out that great Facebook stuff, by the way. The stuff you've been putting out lately has just been great. Oh, and Daryl, I said this earlier. Hopefully you saw it, but the stuff you've been putting on Facebook too is just cracking me up, by the way. You guys are just putting out some great stuff. Keep sending that great stuff onto Facebook, and I will keep liking it. Zublik says, Murphy Brown. Yeah, that was in fact a great show. Tug says, I got a jet. Cold medicine is putting me to sleep. Good night, Thrash. Good night, all. Tug, thank you so much for joining us. As always, keep bringing out that great content, and I'll start brushing up on my post-apocalyptic knowledge like I need to. Oh, RNG. I don't know if you caught this, but Tug, in a couple weeks from now, is going to be putting together another ensemble cast where we talk about post-apocalyptic entertainment. Shannon says, Katrina Lombard Thresh, is that who you were thinking of? That's exactly what I was thinking of, Sean. Thank you very, very much. And yes, I was my brain had locked, but yes, that was the young lady who I was thinking of. Johnny says Seinfeld is the only 90s sitcom I have entirely on DVD. It's a good series. A lot of people saying goodnight to Tug. Danny Staten has given us another link. Thank you very much. Tom is here and still listening. Tom, I applaud your persistence. We'll probably wrapping up around 9ish, so I'd say about 5-6 more minutes, but that's excellent. Oh, RNG says Tom Lemery, I will have to check it. Not yet. And Steve says best sitcom of all time. Number 1, Dick Van Dyke Show. Number 2, The Andrew Griffith Show. Number 3, The Honeymooners. Number 4, Seinfeld. I can argue. Teb says, which of these beloved 2000? Malcolm in the Middle, That 70 Show, Scrubs, Development, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Office, or How I Met Your Mother. I must confess, I watched virtually none, a couple episodes at best, of How I Met Your Mother, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Arrested Development. And I watched perhaps half a season of That 70 Show, so I really can't speak on any of those. Malcolm in the Middle had its moments. Scrubs was very good. But of those, I'd have to go with The Office. That's the one I probably watch the most religiously. And Lance Javen says the RNG watch party for Kroll is 6 p.m. next Saturday. Now that we know who the cast is. RNG says to Tug, good night. Can't wait to see your special. I can't wait to be in it. So we both have something to look forward to. Zublik says there will be entertainment in the post-apocalypse. According to a boy and his dog, yes, there will be very rinky-dink post-apocalyptic open-air theaters. Oh, and Danny Skaten has given a link to Retro Nerd Girl. Thank you. I didn't even have to ask that time. Oh, and please give one to BK on the air too, by the way, while we're at it. Again, I'm sure anyone who's on my channel probably already has, but why not? RNG says, Lance, thanks for spreading the word about next week. Yes, and again, I'll try to make it. I might have to make it in rewatch. Tom says, gotta go take care, everyone. Tom, thank you so much for coming by tonight. Always great having you. You take care of yourself as well. Lance Javen says, bye, guys. See you all Wednesday or next time. Yes, yes, and yes. Lance, thank you so much for your help, all your support. You're the greatest. Take care of yourself. Get some rest. A lot of people saying goodbye to Lance. Oh, and he goes on to say, check out RNG's channel. Thank you. Definitely. Steve says, Zuplex, I forgot about The Office. It's good. It very is good. Lisa Field says, I love The Office. I did too. I even found it in my heart to like the episodes that didn't have Steve Carell. After he left, I thought it still had merit even after he left. To be honest, you're gonna laugh. My favorite character, my favorite character is Dwight. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica, which is funny because he never said that. That was Jim impersonating him. Oh, and thank you, Denny, for sending that link to BK on the air. And let's see, you know what? As we caught up and people are like wrapping it up for the night, I know I too have to get an early start tomorrow. As do I'm sure many of you. But I want to thank all you guys, as always, for coming, by the way. These shows really are fun for me. They really, even when we don't even really have anything set to talk about, you guys keep the conversation lively. Half the time, I'm actually way, way behind because you guys just keep churning out content and things to say and things to talk about, and that really means a lot. It would be sad. It would be heartbreaking if I ever like tried to do this and nobody had anything to talk about, but you guys always do, and that means a lot to me. I love doing these shows with you guys. I'm going to keep doing them. Hopefully, I could go back to doing 2 shows a week. I would love to do 2 shows a week again. But for right now, we'll just have to get by. We'll make do with Sundays. But anyway, I might have something going on with Ian tomorrow night. I might not. I will let you guys know at some point tomorrow. But anyway, I want to thank you guys all again for being here. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Good night, everyone. Peace.